Hi everyone, this is Mr. Jarrett, and today I want to talk to you about active voice and passive voice. Let's jump right in to talk about what active voice is, because this is the very first sentence structure you learned when you were studying English when you were very little. Active voice is very clear in the order of what's going on. So let's look at this example. Amber baked a cake. Okay, now here you have two nouns and a verb. So you have the verb, which is baked. That is the verb, that is the action of what is happening. And then you have the noun before the verb is the subject, that is Amber. Amber is doing the baking in the sentence. And then you have the cake, that is after the verb, that is another noun, and that is the noun that receives the verb. So here we have subject, verb, object. Amber is the subject, baked is the verb, and the cake is the object, right? This is a very simple and basic sentence structure. Now, before we get into passive, I want to teach you two words. You don't need to memorize these words right now, but knowing these will make it easier for me to explain and easier for you to understand what's going on when we switch the words of the sentence. So here, Amber is the subject in this sentence. It is before the verb, it is the subject. The subject is the thing that grabs our attention at the beginning of the sentence. But Amber is also the agent. So in grammar, the agent is the noun that does the verb, the noun that does that action. Okay? So Amber is the agent because Amber does the baking, and then the object receives this in this sentence. The cake is the object, but the cake is also the patient. The patient is the noun that receives the verb. Now, in this case, you can say, of course, the subject and the object do that. But when you start to switch the sentence structure, the subject is still the noun that comes before the verb, but the subject is not always the agent. The subject is not always the noun that does the verb. So let's switch this and let's look at a passive voice form of this sentence. The cake was baked by Amber. Now here, as you see, the cake is first now. The cake is before the verb, but the cake did not do the baking. Okay? So the cake is the subject because the cake is the focus of the sentence here, but it is also still the patient, and Amber is still the agent. So one easy way to think about passive is that, oh, you just switch the subject and the object. But actually, that's not really true. What you're switching are the agent and the patient because the subject remains the noun that's before the verb. Okay? That might be confusing, but we're going to look at some examples, and I'll keep using these terms so that you can get more accustomed to using those, okay? So I can have this sentence. Tommy, his sister, a sticker set. And I'm going to use the verb give, so I can say gave or was given. So do I say Tommy gave or Tommy was given? Here I'm going to say Tommy gave. And the reason is that Tommy is the one who is doing the giving. Tommy is giving it to his sister. He is giving the sticker set. And the sticker set is the object here. The sticker set is not doing anything. This is an active voice sentence. Okay, let's do another one. The video by Mr. Jarrett. And I can say records or is recorded. So the video records or the video is recorded. Now, I want you to think, does the video do this verb? Is the video an agent or a patient? Is it doing the verb or is it receiving the verb? The video is recorded by Mr. Jarrett because Mr. Jarrett is the agent. Mr. Jarrett is the one who is recording the video. So this is what kind of sentence? If the patient is first, this is a passive voice sentence. Now, when you look at that example, you might think, of course I know it's passive voice. It says by and the noun, or by and the agent. That's the easiest way to try and determine if something is a passive or an active sentence. But I'll tell you something worrisome. Sometimes that by and noun is not in the sentence. Sometimes we just take it out. Okay? So I'm going to give you this example. The desk was moved, period. The desk was moved. By whom? Who moved the desk? We don't know. We don't know who moved it, but the desk was moved. Now here, is this an active or a passive sentence? This is a passive sentence because the desk is the noun before the verb, but the desk cannot do the moving. The desk does not move by itself. A person or an animal or an alien had to do the moving of the desk, but we don't know. So we took the agent out, and here we have the desk is still the subject, but it is the patient. It didn't do the verb. It received the verb, which makes this a passive voice sentence. Okay, let's do an example here. I want to change a passive sentence to an active sentence. So her phone was found by a stranger. This is a passive voice sentence. Her phone was found by a stranger. How can I change this sentence into an active sentence? What I have to do is first look for the agent. As you know, the agent should come before the verb in an active sentence. So, in this sentence, who or what does the finding? The stranger. A stranger. So when we make active, we're going to say a stranger found her phone. Simple. We don't need to say was found because the stranger was not found. The stranger did the action. The stranger found her phone. And this is an active voice sentence. Now, let's switch it. Let's do something a little bit trickier. I'll give you an active voice sentence, and I want you to make a passive voice sentence out of it. So, the police conducted a search for 2 hours. We have to make this a passive voice sentence, which means we need to find the patient, the noun that receives the verb. So first, what is the verb? The verb is conducted. The verb is conducted. Okay, now which noun receives that conducting? A search. A search was conducted by the police for 2 hours. The police is the agent. We're going to put that after the verb. A search was conducted by the police for 2 hours. That is the passive form of this sentence. So, if you are noticing, what I'm doing is looking at the verb first. That would be my trick. Look at the verb first and then look at the noun before it and think to yourself, does this noun before the verb do the action or does it receive the action? Is it the agent or is it the patient? So think about that when you're trying to determine what is active, what is passive, or what kind of verb goes here. Okay? Now I'm going to give you two different types of activities to review here. Okay? The first one is which one is active voice. I'll give you 2 sentences. You tell me which one is active voice. The scientists are studying the animal. The animal is being studied by the scientists. Which one is active? The first one is the active sentence. The scientists are studying the animal. How do you know that? The main verb is study, are studying, and are the scientists studying or is the animal studying? The scientists are studying. That is before the verb. The agent is before the verb, so this is active. Okay, last one. Which one is passive? People speak Spanish in Mexico. Spanish is spoken in many countries. Which sentence is a passive sentence? I want to hear you tell me the first one or the second one. I want to hear you through the screen. First one or second one? The second one is the passive sentence. Spanish is spoken in many countries. This one is tricky. I took the agent out on purpose because Spanish is spoken by people. People are the ones speaking it. Spanish is not doing the speaking. Spanish is just the language, right? Here you can see is spoken. That is the verb. And look back at the noun. Is it the agent or the patient? This one has the patient. The speaking is being done to Spanish. Spanish is what is being spoken. So this is a passive voice sentence. Okay, I know that it's a lot to think about. It's not that difficult. The main thing you have to do is look at the verb and look at the noun before it and try to determine, Does the noun do the verb or does the noun receive the verb? So keep practicing, get used to using different sentences in your daily life in English and also encountering them. You might see them in books, on TV, in movies, and as I explained, the meaning might shift a little bit because whatever is the subject of the sentence is what our focus is on. Okay, keep practicing, good luck, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.